Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Today is July 10th, 2024. The time now is 7:33 a.m. Central Daylight Time. This broadcast is intended for all members of the United States Congress, United States Senate, United States House Armed Services Committee, both Democrat and Republican, the President of the United States, the Commandant of the Marine Corps, Sergeant Major of the Marine Corps, Secretary of Defense, and the Secretary of the Navy. Yesterday, July 9th, 2024, I received a notification notifying me that the legal officer at Matic 21 needed to meet with me in regards to my Request Mast application. And before I get into the details that transpired after, I just want to go over a few important things. First, I believe I forgot to add some details into the meeting that took place at Marine Detachment Eglin Air Force Base, EOD school, on July 2nd of 2024. In that, after Lieutenant Colonel Martinez had came from his office after reaching out to higher headquarters for legal advice in regards to whether or not I, being the Marine that requests mast, had the right or the opportunity to deliver my package, my Request Mast application, to Matic 21 in Pensacola in person. Upon conclusion of being notified that I would not be funded to conduct such travel from Eglin Air Force Base to Naval Air Station Pensacola, Lieutenant Colonel Martinez had mentioned that he initially directed me to report to the office at 1100 on Thursday, July 3rd, 2024, to provide me a response on being allowed to receive my government computer, or a government computer, to bring home to conduct official government business. And he wanted to talk to me about social media posts. However, Lieutenant Colonel Martinez stated that because I was requesting mast, he would hold off on addressing me being issued a government computer to telework from home, and the social media posts until that following week. I believe that is the week we're in right now, actually. Essentially, I asked Lieutenant Colonel Martinez, sir, what day or in time would you be available next week, meaning this week, for him to speak to me about those two things. Those two things being the government computer and social media posts. Lieutenant Colonel Martinez said that he does not have a date and time, and he will just notify me by phone call or text message of the date and time to come in. And I acknowledged that I understood what he said, and the reason why I'm requesting a specific date and time is to ensure that it does not conflict with any other obligations that I have, such as medical, dental appointments, or family circumstances. Because I still have to, live. I can't just stay stuck in my house all day waiting for a phone call, hey, be here in an hour. And I don't know, I'm taking care of me, and to properly coordinate and schedule. Lieutenant Colonel Martinez then said that he being Lieutenant Colonel Martinez, will go to the 96th Medical Group at Eglin Air Force Base and request all of my appointments. And when he obtains that, he will work around my medical and dental appointments only, and notify me of a date and time. And I didn't really understand why the command would do that. And so I asked, why would you do that, sir? And I can't remember what Lieutenant Colonel Martinez said, but I didn't understand why it had to go as far as Lieutenant Colonel Martinez having to request official records from the 96th Medical Group just to schedule an appointment, when it just let me know a date and time in advance, so I can know that whatever I have going on, aside from medical and dental, that I can reschedule or properly coordinate on my side. And so that's what happened there. And then fast forwarding to my meeting with Colonel Brunk, being the commanding officer of MATSIC 21. That is our immediate commanding officer in the next level of command. And upon conclusion of the meeting on July 3rd, in regards to my Request Mast application, towards the end of the meeting, Colonel Brunk had dismissed everyone from the room, including myself. So I gathered my things and I started to walk out. And then Colonel Brunk stopped me from exiting by way of a command. And he asked me to remain behind, as well as SgtMaj Alvarez. And so I, not a problem, sir. I don't mind remaining behind. And so I feel like someone else was in the room at that time, but I can't remember. I do know that SgtMaj Alvarez and Colonel Brunk was there. And Colonel Brunk asked me, how was I doing? And my response was, I'm fine, sir. And he started to ask another question. And he stopped himself about 2 words in and said out loud, but to himself, but enough to where I could hear it, as well as SgtMaj Alvarez. I cannot speak for SgtMaj Alvarez. However, Colonel Brunk started to ask a question, and he stopped himself. And then a couple seconds later, Colonel Brunk then proceeded to ask, almost like, how am I doing mentally? Like, is my what do you say? I think he said, how was I doing mentally? Am I in the right mind space? And My response was, "I'm fine, sir." And then he said, "Well, I can inquire into your medical and mental health record. All I got to do is make a phone call, and they'll just provide that information to me um, to see what's going on with your health. You know, I'm an '06, and I can do that. All I got to do is make a phone call." And my response was, "I'm fine, sir." And at that moment in time, Colonel Brunk dismissed me, and then I departed for the day. So I forgot to add those things into um, the previous two recordings. Again, I want to reemphasize that this message is intended for all members of the United States Congress, United States Senate, House Armed Services Committee, both Democrat and Republican, the Secretary of Defense, Secretary of the Navy, the Commandant of the Marine Corps, and the Sergeant Major of the Marine Corps, respectively. My next thing that I want to introduce, which I've introduced before, is the Request Mast Order, Marine Corps Order 1700, Marine Corps Order 1700.23 Golf, signed into effect on June 21st, 2019. And I want to go over, I think it is Appendix B, which is definitions. And specifically, definition paragraph 4, which is communicate. And it reads, with regards to request mast, the term communicate is defined as an opportunity to appear personally before a commander, to correspond with that officer in writing, and or speak with that officer by telephone or video teleconference as provided for in this order. That was a definition directly from the Request Mast Procedures as set forth in Marine Corps Order 1700.23 Golf. I also want to read some specific paragraphs or inserts from the same reference. Paragraph 4, subparagraph B2C, page 2 of the reference. Commanders should offer to process and resolve a Marine's request mast without delay. There should be no more than one working day delay from when the request mast is presented to when the Marine has an audience with the commander. This applies at each level of command. On July 1st, 1526, I notified my command that I was exercising my right to request mast. My commanding officer, Lieutenant Colonel Martinez, solicited that I wait until July 3rd to conduct my request mast application. I notified Lieutenant Colonel Martinez that it could not wait until July 3rd, that it is an emergency case, and it's a request mast application. Lieutenant Colonel Martinez notified me that that he would see me July 2nd at 9 o'clock a.m. Central Daylight Time. And I have reoccurring medical appointments every Tuesday at 8 o'clock a.m. Central Daylight Time. My command is aware, and they have been aware of all of my appointments since I've had appointments. So when the next day came, it was not a surprise. It was not a pop-up appointment. It was something that was already scheduled. I notified them that I had an appointment. And that delayed my ability to report in at 9 o'clock. On July 3rd, I think it was, what time was it? At 16:24, I stepped foot in Colonel Brunk's office at Matic 21. So from July 1st, 1526 until July 2nd, 1526, that's one working day. At the first level of command. I didn't meet with the next command until after that time. So there was a solicited intentional delay to try to reschedule it for a different day, specifically from July 1st to July 3rd by a whole 48 hours. And then the ability to meet with the next commander took place after that one working day. So if I would not have physically delivered my package to Matic 21, Col Brunk, on July 2nd, 2024, my package, my Request Mast application would not have been delivered. So I'm trying to meet that timeline. Respectfully, as we can see that there was already intentional solicited delay, and then I still didn't meet with the next commander until after that one working day timeline, as stated in the Marine Corps order. I'm trying to do the right thing and meet the timeline. When I received the completed version of the NAVMIC 11296, Lieutenant Colonel Martinez did not annotate either part of the reason for delay in the space that's provided for the within the space allocated on page 2 of NAVMIC 11296. And I notified Major Kirk and Matic 21 of the inaccuracy and the incomplete, the incorrect completion of the form. And I'm going to move over to the next paragraph within the reference. So within the same paragraph, still page 2, paragraph 4B2D as in Delta, commanders should provide Marines the opportunity to request mast in person unless extraordinary circumstances preclude such an appearance. I was provided the opportunity to meet with my immediate commanding officer in person. I was provided the opportunity to meet with the next level of command, Col Brunk at Master 21 in person. I was not offered the opportunity in any way, shape, or form to meet with the next officer in my chain of command, which in this case is the my immediate commanding general, Brigadier General Henderson, who is commanding general of training command. I will say that the ultimatum that I was given, that I was ordered and provided by Colonel Brunk, SgtMaj Alvarez, Major Kirk, Mr. Blake, who is, let me make sure I got this right. Yep, Mr. Blake, who is the Command Inspector General at Training Command, works for and is assigned to Brigadier General Henderson. They notified me that the only option I had, if I wanted to deliver my Request Mast application, essentially the opportunity to request Mast in person, was if I submitted for and took annual leave to conduct such travel to tend to matters relating to the Request Mast. And in doing so, there is no funded trip in order for me to conduct official business in regards to this Request Mast application, which would be delivering it in person and having opportunity to request Mast in person to the next commander, which is Brigadier General Henderson. I will emphasize again, I don't understand why a Marine has to use their annual leave to conduct official business when it's established in the Marine Corps Order 1700.23 Golf that Marines should be provided the opportunity to request Mast in person. This is an official government program. It's Request Mast program. So I was not provided the opportunity. And there are no extraordinary circumstances that would be preventing the command to ensure that I be provided the opportunity to request Mast in person. The next paragraph that I'll read, same page, paragraph 2, paragraph 4B2 echo, says commander should establish, monitor, and document follow-up procedures to ensure that each request Mast is processed in a timely manner, that the disposition is being executed, and that no adverse or prejudicial action is taken against a Marine as a result of exercising the right to request Mast. Please keep that one in mind. I'm going to be referencing this specific paragraph when I go over the follow-up meeting that took place yesterday, July 8th, 2024, July 9th, 2024. The next reference that I will point out or address is paragraph 4B2 Golf, which states, when matters are beyond a commander's authority to resolve, the commander shall forward the request mast to the next higher commander for consideration and appropriate action. I notified Lieutenant Colonel Martinez, I notified Master Gunner Sergeant Shookhart, I notified Major Kirk, I notified the incoming and outgoing executive officer of Master 21, I notified Sergeant Major Alvarez, I notified Colonel Brunk, and I also notified Mr. Clark on behalf of Training Command personally, well, via phone with Mr. Blake, sorry. I notified via phone Mr. Blake, and everyone else was in person, that the matters or the subject of the request mast I do not wish to disclose, and I would not waste anyone's time. And I know that Brigadier General Henderson does not have the authority to resolve the concern or my reason for requesting mast, respectively. Moving on to the next paragraph, H. Commanders should exercise appropriate disciplinary or administrative action if a Marine commits or attempts to commit interference or reprisal against any Marine exercising his or her right to request mast. This is very important, as I will reference in my next video.